Starting off the presentation today for TracerPlus 9, Custom Mobile Apps and No Programming. Today we're taking a little bit different of a path than we've done before with our Getting Started webinars. We're actually starting, usually we start with, diving right into the mobile application and how it's set up and, showing you the speeds and feeds and really getting into the guts of the app. And today we're going to back off a little bit. We've been doing some research, and actually the research, the poll we just ran kind of proves it. We have a lot of people on our webinars in the Getting Started that really don't even know anything about TracerPlus. The poll we just ran, which we want to thank everybody for taking, showed that around 41% of the attendees were our current users. 16% have actually downloaded the app and started trialing it. So, that's roughly around 60% of the attendees have the app on their PC and are, using it. And then we have a pretty high number, actually, the 43% are still just doing the research. They're looking into the mobile application. And that's what I'm going to start off talking about today. We just celebrated 15 years at PTS doing mobile apps, and we have a pretty good idea of why people, start to go mobile. So I'm going to go why mobile and why TracerPlus and go through, kind of the path our customers go through to make a decision. Then Kristin Comeau, who is our Channel Sales Manager, she's going to go through the different paths that you can follow as a TracerPlus customer to create your mobile apps. And then she's going to show you the self-help resources if you decide to create the app yourself. And then she's also going to go through the paid resources, the partner training, and services that are available for our end users. So you could get training from various partners or PTS directly and go through our training services. And then finally, Joe Kraebel will be demoing TracerPlus 9. So all of our current users who are on the webinar, the first two components of the webinar may be a little bit of a refresher course from you. If you're a reseller, please take a look at it and tell us what you think in this path. It's a little different than we've done before. This is the first time we're presenting this material. And sit tight. Joe's going to do his best to show you what's new in 9 and give our new attendees a little highlighted view of what's possible with TracerPlus. So with that said, just a little house cleaning. Got some news for any of our Latin American customers on the webinar. We have a new addition to the PTS team. We have a Giovanni Olivo, who's now our LATAM account manager and solution architect, who speaks Spanish fluently. Is actually from Ecuador, and will be available to all of our customers to assist our resellers as well as our end users in creating and deploying mobile applications with TracerPlus. Anyway, Kristin, if you could go to the next slide. So first off, who's on this webinar? I figured out like a long time ago, we have all different types of folks that attend our webinars and that are customers of PTS and use TracerPlus. So I just figured I'd break it down so people understand the content and why we're presenting things the way we are. First, we have our customers who have customers or are resellers who, for whatever reason, maybe they're in the auto ID market selling barcode scanners and RFID equipment, and they have customers that come to them and they say, we need a mobile solution. We need to do asset tracking. We need to track people. Maybe it's in healthcare and they want to track prescriptions. So they have customers coming to them and they're looking for mobile solutions. So we have our resellers and new resellers on these webinars learning how they can create mobile solutions for their customers. Secondly, we have what we'll call the internal developers and IT folks within organizations who have coworkers or their own internal customers who are looking for mobile solutions. These PTS customers usually have a bunch of projects that they have lined up that they want to get to because their internal users have been requesting mobile solutions. And now they are ready to start, and they're doing their research and trying to figure out the best path. We also have people who have gone down the path of creating mobile solutions, whether they be resellers or end users who maybe are looking for a better way. Maybe they've used off-the-shelf solutions. Maybe they've used custom developers. Maybe they've even used a RAD tool similar to TracerPlus that wasn't successful, and they're just looking for a better way to create these mobile solutions. We also have what we call the business leaders, whether they be small business owners or IT directors, who are looking to debunk the myth. The myth being that going mobile is really expensive and time-consuming and a big risk. A lot of folks still think that. I think it's shifting. Mobile is no longer just an email tool. Mobile is a way to run your business. And we see it, I see it with my own children. Their desktop is starting to go away. They'd much rather look at their phone or do work on their phone and than sit down at a PC and use their laptop. I have one child who I think lost his laptop in the house, to give you an idea. He uses his PDA for everything. And he is so comfortable with it, it's like we were with, and to date myself, like I was with a pencil that you sharpened. It's second nature to them. So we're looking to debunk. They're looking to debunk the myth and come back to their coworkers and say, hey, listen, this is doable. It's affordable. We can start integrating mobile into our business. And then finally, we have our PTS customers. I think those folks that are on there here that are PTS customers, and I hope you get the joke, but you're going to be kind of upset that Howie is not doing the webinar. Howie, one of our lead presenters here, has a pretty big fan base, and sorry to disappoint you. Howie is not doing the webinar today. It's going to be myself, Kristin, and Joe. So with the next slide, so again, we have these different users or folks within organizations, and they're looking to go mobile, and they're looking to solve a problem or to do something. And rather than going to the vertical solutions like asset tracking, inventory, people tracking, whatever it may be, or going through the barcoding, RFID, speeds and feeds and why you want to use it, I figured we'd take a different way of looking at it, which is kind of common. And what's the root need for going mobile? And how do you decide why you want to go mobile? And I just bulleted some ideas or what we see over and over. We ask folks, why do they want to go mobile? And these are the things we typically hear, and I'm sure I left a bunch out, but as I was brainstorming, these are the ones that came top of mind. First and foremost, they need more accurate data. Paper forms, memory of what took place in the field, or what their inventory is, or whatever it may be. Their data is not good, and they need more accurate data. It could be a hospital, and they have problems with accuracy of data being collected. That's probably the biggest reason we see for folks going mobile. Then we have more data types are needed. What I mean by this is, there's certain things that a paper form cannot capture. GPS coordinates, pictures are worth 1,000 words, barcodes, all signatures. There's hundreds of different types of ways you can capture data and data types with a mobile solution that you can't get with a pen and paper. Then we have data entry is too costly. Folks are out in the field and they're spending a lot of time doing their inventory. And with mobile, they can reduce that time quite a bit. Barcoding, I don't know what the latest metric is, but people say, your inventory time is reduced by 5-fold when you add barcoding. And then we hear RFID can reduce an inventory that was done with barcoding 10-fold faster. They're reducing the costs of that data entry process. Manual entry is obviously too slow. Those kind of go hand in hand. The data is collected in the field. They may even have a paper process that works fine, but when they hand it into that manual data entry clerk, or they enter the data themselves even, that piece of paper no longer makes a heck of a lot of sense. Is that a 9 or a 4? They have to sit there and manually enter that data all day long into their database. So another reason to go mobile. Accountability of time in the field or warehouse. So what are your people actually doing while they're out there? How quickly do they work? Do we see ebbs and flows in the speed of work? That's all the metrics that mobile can give you. Just the mere presence of a mobile solution tends to speed up applications, and the ROI can be found just in that. So the accountability of what takes place in the warehouse or out near field, mobile can really help with. Data is old in your current system, and old is a really relative term, and we hear all different, it's a vast array of what's considered old. From I need my data to be up to the minute in my warehouse or up to the second, because we make decisions on where to pull things, what what to run in a production run, and our data has to be up to the minute. They don't have time to wait for a slow process. So maybe they're even just refining the mobile process they have. They're coming to us so they have better data in their current system. To the other end of the spectrum, it might be an inspection of a piece of equipment in the field, and in the past they filled it out and they brought it in. That mobile worker brought it in a week later, and by the time he brought it in, the piece that he needed to repair the equipment in the field was long gone, and now they got to wait another week to put it on order. It just slows the whole system down. So a real-time data collection system will speed it up. And then I think this is the most interesting one we see. Customers come to us and just say their mobile workers, whether they forget or they have a better way, are getting creative with the processes they use to collect the data. Maybe it's an inspection, maybe it's a repair. You can set up a mobile application to enforce your processes. And I'm sure there's a ton of different reasons for going mobile, but these are the reasons you're here, why you would use a tool that would be used for a mobile solution. So if we can go to the next slide. So we've concluded we need a mobile solution for our company. Traditionally, what most of our customers do is they go down the off-the-shelf path first. And then when that doesn't work, they'll go down the custom development path. And I'm just going to, quickly as I can, go through the pros and cons of each one of those paths. So if we can go to the next solution, the off-the-shelf software. Well, off-the-shelf meaning that it's canned, ready to go. Maybe it's on an app store. Maybe it's a company like SAP that has a mobile solution ready to go for your SAP system. I mean, it runs the gamut. Maybe it's for a small business. Maybe it's for a very large business. Maybe it's an asset tracking canned app. Typically, the pros of an off-the-shelf solution is that they're cost-effective. They're being developed for thousands of users, and the price is, you're getting a decent deal on what you're paying for. It has built-in processes. We always tell our customers, and if you're looking for a process that's not in place, i.e. you're doing asset tracking, and you really have no clue of how you want to do it, what you want to track, and you don't have a back-end system, PTS and TracerPlus may not be the best thing. Maybe you want to go to one of our, not they're a partner, but we know them pretty well, like a Red Beamer and a IntelliTrack, and use their canned solutions that have built-in processes, and take advantage of the work being done for you already. Free trials also exist. Its installation is quick. There's no bugs. There's user groups that you can talk to. There's hopefully support and maintenance in place. And if it's a popular system, meaning that the company is making money, you're not going to have what we call an OS stall. You're not going to be caught on a BlackBerry. We have these customers come in all the time, and on the other side of the cons is there can be an OS stall because not enough people thought the software was as great as you did. The cons being also, typically a lot of our customers come to us because whether it's a normal, they think everybody should be doing sales the way they do or inventory or asset tracking, the solution just doesn't exist. So they don't have it. They don't have an off-the-shelf software to use. Their unique needs can't be met. The other thing that we find is most systems are designed for a range or a number of users. So let's go to the App Store, Play Store by Google. Most of those apps are designed for SMBs or small businesses, maybe single users, home inventory. These little apps that don't talk to each other, and you can just use them on your handheld. You're not going to be able to scale your business on something like that, but it might work well in the beginning. The other thing that we hear quite a bit is, I don't want to get an off-the-shelf software because this thing is a beast, and I only need to do this. So I'm going to use 5% of this application to get it, use it, and the rest of it's just going to sit there unused. And then what if they decide that 5% is not their core part of their application and don't develop it? And then finally, what we talked about before, the unpopular systems. They're just not going to go anywhere. So you're betting or investing in this system that goes somewhere. Now to the next slide. So you figure out, it doesn't exist or off-the-shelf is not right for you. And then you decide, well, I'm going to have it developed. And I'm going to get some custom programming done. Maybe it's an internal resource that you have, and you're going to stand in line behind them to the other people who need an app and get your app done. Or maybe you're going to offshore it, or maybe you have a buddy who does programming. Who knows? the great thing about custom software is that you can develop it to meet your exact needs. If you do it right, because there's specs being written and you usually get your end users involved, you have a lot of user buy-in. If you scale the application, usually the cost is going to be a lot less. You're going to pay for your programming up front. Hopefully, if you do it right, you're going to have access to the developer, so if something goes wrong, he's there and you can talk to him. You'll get support and maintenance from that developer. You're going to pay that person, to upgrade it to the new OS. So as long as they don't change careers or decide that they don't like you anymore, or they, no longer in your organization, you're going to be able to, migrate to the next best OS. You'll be able to add features. And the biggest thing that people go with custom for, which is kind of interesting, we see over and over because we are a hybrid of custom software, which we'll get into in a minute, they have a competitive edge. They're able to put a process in place that the guy who bought the off-shelf software won't be able to do. And they don't want to let anybody know about it. It's their special sauce, their special way of doing things. The DNA of their company is wrapped up into this mobile application, and that's what makes them special. Okay, so there's a lot of cons with custom software. And, these are often minimized by the developers, of which we have a bunch of developers in-house here as well. And, biggest thing is cost. Development is expensive. Even if you have it offshore, there's a tremendous cost to getting custom software written. There's also a huge risk. There's no return policy on custom code. The spec alone is going to cost you a tremendous amount of money to have a solid spec written, and I don't think many people are going to give you the money back when you decide it doesn't work for you. There's also a long lead time. Most custom apps are taking 6 months to a year to develop and deploy. At least those are the numbers we see. I'm sure it's less if you're doing something really, really basic. If no access to developer, bad things happen. What I mean by this, and we see it, and we hear about it every day. We get stories that, well, we had a homegrown app. We did X, Y, or Z, and we went to use it. It doesn't work anymore with the technology we have. We bought some new scanners or new mobile equipment, and the developer who developed it internally is no longer within the organization. I'm the new developer. I opened up his code, and I don't have a clue what the heck he did. I mean, I have no clue. I don't even know where to start, so they start looking for an out or a change. We've heard stories where people have changed careers. When custom code is written, typically you need that developer or that development company, first off, to be really good, to have good code, but more importantly, to be accessible. If they go out of business, you're kind of up the creek. OS changes are expensive. It's expensive to maintain. It's expensive to write spec. Usually you don't have that user group or that buddy down the road who owns a company who's using it as well that you can pick the brain of. And usually you're paying for everything. So with all those benefits, there's the negatives. And it works out great for many custom software, but those risks are in place for you as well. So when we developed our company, if we can go to the next slide, we saw this. We had a lot of people come to us and say, I just want to do this. It doesn't exist. And I'm looking, to just get this done. How can I do it? Well, we created TracerPlus with all of those cons and the pros involved and tried to bridge the gap between custom and off-the-shelf. Anyone can customize a TracerPlus app. I like to say, if you can read a manual and understand the manual, and you have a basic understanding of, software in the sense of, you've used Excel before, you should be able to create a TracerPlus app pretty quickly. And if you want to have it do backflips, with a little training from the PTS team or help from one of our resellers training you, you should be able to do backflips and do some amazing things with it. It's free to try, so there is really no risk to create an application with TracerPlus. I mean, for selfish purposes, we made it free to try in the beginning. We weren't a sales company. We were out there selling it, so we wanted to make it really easy to sell the product, and that's why we make it a trial. You can download our tools, develop as many apps as you want. You only pay for what you're actually deploying and sending large pieces of data on. You can create apps your way to do anything. You're only limited by the imagination. And that's really the biggest selling point, I think, of TracerPlus. we see some of the most insane things, some things I can't even talk about that are being set up with TracerPlus. And then we see people doing asset tracking and inventory. We deploy probably 60% of our asset tracking and inventory are our applications. And every single one is different than the other one. I have never seen one the same unless we've created it for them and kind of benchmark what we've done in the past. There's usually really strong user buy-in, just like in a custom-developed app, because you're designing the application, you're getting your end users involved. But the difference is there's a rapid development time. For every feature you add, there's no development time. To add signature, you click a button. You don't write 3 days of code. The great thing about TracerPlus is it integrates with most of your databases that are in place. So if you have an Excel sheet that you're using, an Access database, or maybe it's an Oracle database or a MySQL database, you can deploy or mobilize that data to your handheld in any way you want. Our users who are on the call should notice that, and I can speak volumes to this, we're constantly developing the application. We went from Palm to Windows Mobile to Android, and now we're releasing iOS shortly. People may ask why so long on iOS. Well, iOS is generally considered a consumer device, and we make enterprise class devices, and we do a lot of barcode scan intensive stuff. But with our new features that we're adding, the tablets and the iPhones are becoming more and more common in a request, and we listen to our customers, and we know we're going down this road, even though there are pains with it. So you're not going to see an OS stall what we have. That's the fourth or fifth OS that we've deployed on. Some are no longer active, but we keep the application going forward, and as long as we listen to you, we feel that you're going to be in really good shape and have an application that you can continue reusing. We have customers that have been working with us for 13 years since Tracer's been out. We've been in business for 15. We have canned apps available on our Solution Center, which Kristin will talk about. So if you just need to do something down and dirty and quick, you can download applications and run it on TracerPlus. TracerPlus can run up to 32 apps at a time. So you buy the license once, and you can run apps of any type, side by side. And then we have what we've been working on. I would say the biggest thing and the reason we're having this webinar is the services and the reseller community that we've put in place to make it easy for those folks that don't have the time to create their own apps or need help in getting started. We have put a lot of resources out there that are available for our customers to use to make it easy. We're investing in our customers to learn. We do these webinars all the time. We're trying to make it easy for you to get started, make it easy for you to find the services you need in your area, and make it easy for you to get an ROI on the investment you're making. So with that said, hopefully I've kind of explained to you why customers use TracerPlus. Now maybe you'll give it a try. Maybe you'll trial it. And Kristin's going to show you what you can do and the paths you can take to create your TracerPlus applications. So with that, I'll flip it over to you, Kristin. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. So like Brad stated, one of the many benefits to adopting TracerPlus within your organization is you have options. Unlike custom-developed or off-the-shelf apps, you have the ability and the flexibility to create your own applications. So today I'll be showing you many of the resources that we provide for those who set out to create their own, as well as explain the process that takes place when our team of TracerPlus solution architects are commissioned to create the application for you. Okay, so you've decided to go for it, and you're going to create the application on your own. The first step, which you may have already done, is to download the TracerPlus desktop software. This is the tool that you will use to create the application for your Windows Mobile, CE, or Android devices. Joe will be showing you this tool and using it after my presentation. So at PTS, like Brad stated, we understand that people learn differently. Some of our users will print and dive right into our user guides, while others will watch our videos over and over again. Some may even skip these methods and just download the product and start clicking and dragging through our design tool until they figure it out, and while sometimes corresponding with others in our user groups that are available. In any event, we've created a host of different resources to best accommodate each of your learning styles. And here's some examples on the screen right now of those resources. And I've attached links on this slide to each of the resources that for a reference for you. So please contact us if you'd like a copy of this presentation, and it'll be a quick way to get you to where you need to go. Most of our resources can be found through our main support page on our website, TracerPlus.com. So at this time, I'm going to move over my browser to the screen and navigate through our website to show you some of the resources. The support page can be found by clicking on support right here on the top ribbon. And you'll see that our user manuals are available. And we have TracerPlus Desktop, TracerPlus Connect, and we even have a how to print, set up printing TracerPlus with TracerPlus available. So most of you probably don't even have seen that, but I think this is a great tool for any of your printing questions. What's nice about our user guides is the table of contents. So I often come here when trying to help customers is I'll scroll through here and I'll look and I'll say, oh, importing a project, or maybe connect settings. How do I do that? And you just click right here and it brings you right to that feature. YouTube, for those of you who like to watch videos, we have our own YouTube channel. And the feature that I like most about the YouTube channel is this search feature. Right here, you can search a particular feature that you're looking to learn about, and it'll sort it, and all the videos related to that feature will pop up for you. So that's a great way. We also started feature-focused videos, which are really quick, sometimes could be 2 minutes, sometimes could be 5 minutes, up to maybe 15 minutes, just quickly explaining a certain feature. So you no longer have to sit through a 30-minute or a 60-minute video. You can just come here and quickly see the feature. And if you also, for those users, any ideas on feature-focused videos, we'd love to hear them. So send them our way. Another great resource that we have is our knowledge base. And this is where we actually, it's kind of maybe a little bit more in-depth articles than what the user guide may have with regards to certain features. And over here on the left, we have folders where certain features like mobile printing. So if we click on mobile printing, you'll see a whole list of articles that were written about mobile printing, specific to maybe troubleshooting something that you're experiencing. And again, there's a search box where you can search on a particular issue that you're having, even like an error message that you're having. You can come here, type in that error message, and an article would appear. And we also have support tickets. Whether you're an existing customer or what we call a pre-sale customer, you can create a ticket. We do offer support agreements, which give you support, unlimited email, and phone support. For those of you who don't have support, you can always feel free to create a ticket, and someone will reply back to you here. And this can also be found, this ticket system can be found on our main support page. And I think Brad touched upon this real quickly in the beginning of the presentation, where we have quick start applications. These are, quote, canned applications that they're free, and you can download them into TracerPlus Desktop. So, for example, if you're looking for an asset tracking application, you can come here and maybe you're looking for, let's see, a check-in, check-out kind of solution. Here's an application that's ready to go. You can download this into TracerPlus Desktop, and you can deploy it immediately to a device, or you can modify it, make changes, and then deploy it to a device. This is a great way to get started Even if you're just learning, it may not be an application that you're looking to do, but it's a great learning tool to get the process down. So for those of you who are, go to the next, sorry, the next slide, fast track training. So say you need a little extra help. You're 90% there, your application is ready to go, but you just can't get the lookups to work, function properly. Our solution architects will teach you all about that feature that you're having issues with, much like our training videos, but you get to ask questions. These questions can be specific to your type of application, and it's a great way to jumpstart your application and get you moving in the right direction quickly. You will also now receive free recordings of these fast track training video sessions so that you can refer back to them when needed. Okay, so say you don't have time to create your own application. You know, even if you later on want to use the tool to create more applications within your organization, but you just quickly need something done right away, and you know, we have those services to do it for you. So what I'm going to do now is go through the process of what that takes. So when PTS is commissioned to create an application, the first thing we do is define a clear scope of work. If you already have a process in place, perhaps you use paper forms, we can start there and then enhance that process while essentially creating an electronic version for you. If you haven't yet been collecting data at all, and this is your first attempt, that's not a problem. We will discuss the process together and develop a written scope of work with which the solution architect can work from. This process can be accomplished with a couple of conversations and emails going back and forth. Once the application is completed, we will email you the file so you can begin testing with it. You will also have direct access to the solution architect, so any questions or changes needed can be made during this phase. The process from developing the scope of work to delivering the application typically takes no more than 2 weeks to complete. A lot of this depends on the resources on your side and the availability and testing and some of the requirements that we need, but typically no more than 2 weeks to complete an application. Now, in some cases, you may need additional services. Perhaps you don't have a PC-based inventory system or an asset database with which you can generate reports from. You're starting completely from scratch and don't have really anything in place. Well, TracerPlus over the years has developed a worldwide network of resellers and integrators who have used TracerPlus to create mobile apps that work in conjunction with their systems that they provide, sometimes large ERP systems that they've helped put in place for their customers. If in the event you need or would like to work with one of our third-party integrators, we'd be happy to make that introduction. And we often work together as a team to provide your organization with a complete solution that best fits your needs. So while we like to say it's a custom solution, you're still given the tools to use in the future, so you're not locked into relying on a custom developer. So if you're on the fence about which way to go, I would encourage you to reach out to your TracerPlus account manager and discuss all these options I've spoken about today, and they can help answer any questions that you may have. With that, I will turn it on over to Joe.
So hello everyone, I'm Joe Kraebel. I'm one of the mobile solution architects here at PTS. And I'm going to be going over our TracerPlus desktop tool and basically showing you how to quickly create an app from scratch, as well as download one of our Solution Center apps and make a modification to it, just to kind of show you how quickly it is to get started with this. Let me just make sure I'm showing my screen here. Looks like I am. All right, so this is our TracerPlus desktop tool, which is free to use. You only license the mobile client on the device, so you can
try this for free, create your apps, deploy to your devices, test functionality. You can do all that in a trial mode without having to purchase, just to prove that TracerPlus is the right fit for you. So I'm going to get started by creating a new project. So you'll see here we're presented with a session. So we consider a session a form with a data table behind it, and like Brad mentioned earlier, you can run up to 32 different sessions on the device at once. These can be individual applications, or they can be other sessions tied into a main session for lookups, such as looking up item lists or asset lists, or referencing totals or updating totals. You can use up to 32 different sessions or forms. So the first thing we can do here is name it. So I'm just going to create a basic inventory app. So we'll just call this inventory. And then you'll see down here we have some fields that we can name and actually configure some settings for. So in our case, we want maybe a part number, a quantity, and then maybe we also want the date of the inventory. And the remaining fields we don't need. Please note that you can use up to 100 fields of data capture. If you're looking for more than 100 fields, we do have some OEM versions available, I believe in 200 and 500 field versions. So give us a shout if you're interested in that many fields. Typically, we find that 100 is enough unless you have a really big inspection form. Since I'm not using these other fields, I'm just going to remove them. So our part number, we're going to want to scan that, basically look it up, and then update our quantity. So in this case, we're going to use something called our auto find on scan. So that basically opens up the record in edit mode, allowing us to update that quantity, and then we're going to basically auto submit that record. So we can actually do a quick scan and count. So we're also going to turn on our auto submit feature and set our go-to field to go back to the part number. So as you can see on the after scan settings here, this is a powerful feature of TracerPlus in which it tells you basically where to direct the flow of the app in terms of, once data is scanned, whether it be barcode, RFID, or even if you key it in followed by a tab or enter key press. So you can tell it to submit, you can tell it to go to a certain field. You can clear the field on a submit if you wanted to retain like maybe location data if you're doing inspections. So these are very useful features. So like I said, we're going to scan a part number and we're going to auto submit that and increment the quantity automatically. So if we go to our quantity field, we're going to use what's called a variable. And then we have a variable called increment. And then we can specify a start value and what to increment by. So this is going to allow us to scan the part. If it hasn't been scanned already, it's going to get a quantity of 1. The next time we scan it, it's going to find it, increase that quantity by 1, making it 2, so on and so forth. And we're going to just set a date here. So this will be a data type of date time. And you can actually customize how that date looks or formats. Depending on what region you're in, you may want to format your date differently. So you can choose from some of our pre-canned options here, or you can even just type into this field up here by using some of the date characters, date and time characters that are available to you, which I think is in our appendix in one of our in the desktop user guide. So you notice if I start typing DD, you'll see a sample of what it's going to look like. Maybe I want YYY next, and then we want maybe a month. I believe if we do a capital M, let me just do lowercase. So you'll see a date format based on what you type there. But I'm just going to select one from our list here, just the standard date format here for in the U.S. And then we also have some features here for visibility. We can show on a grid. You can mark something as read-only. And a variety of other features, including validation, if we wanted to validate based on uniqueness or length or barcode type. there's a lot of control over what you can do with validation. So now that we have our fields defined, I'm going to jump over to our form designer real quick, and we'll create a default form. So this form is fully customizable, so you can tailor it to your needs and make it look pretty, change colors, change fonts, make things bold, add logos. All things are possible here. So I'm just going to leave it at this and just deploy it to my connected device. Also on deployment, you'll see the option of what platform you want to deploy to, whether it be Windows Mobile and Android. So this is a Windows Mobile device I have connected, so I'm just going to push that over. And I'll pull up my device here. So there's our newly created session. There's our inventory. If I go in here, it should look similar to what our form designer looks like. And then if I just start entering some data here, I'll just key it in since the device is in the cradle. That should auto-submit. We also have an option here with auto-find. If a record's new, it can prompt you for it, and you can choose whether to add it or not. So we'll go ahead and hit yes to that. You'll see that that record auto-submitted. So if I scan that again, we should see a quick change of quantity to 2. Scan it again, 3. Scan it again. Oh, that's a new product. So we'll get a record not found message. And if I scan 1001 again, that's up to 4. If I scan that 1004, that should be up to 2. So you'll see how quickly I just created a simple inventory app to do quick inventory scans and counts. If you wanted to actually view that data, we could jump over to the View Data tab, click on Inventory, and then we can actually see the data that we've collected. So there's our parts, the quantities we scanned, and the dates. So now that you've done this, maybe you want to take it a step further. Maybe you want to do some issue and receiving of inventory. So as Kristin spoke of before about our Solution Center, which is available online, you can download projects there to import into desktop. But also, we have these samples built into desktop. So if you just click on the samples, it will reach out to our website. You'll see the same type of categories. So if I click Inventory Control, here's our inventory solutions. So maybe we want to do an inventory issue and receive. So it's going to give you a brief description of the app and a screenshot of what it looks like. Then we'll just click Next. And then we can actually import this into desktop. So once imported, you'll see all the available sessions within that project. So we have a receive product, issue product, and a view product list. So we don't really need to make any changes to the app here, but if you wanted to, you could, i.e. if you did want to change the date format, you could change it. We could also change some things on the form here. Maybe we want to add a company logo to it. So I'll click this image control, click it on the form, then come over here to our selected control properties where we can configure a lot of the form control properties based on the type of control that's selected. So I'm just going to browse to a logo that I have here, our Acme Corp. So now if I push this out to the device, I'll go ahead and deploy that. So here's our newly deployed project. You'll see the 3 sessions of receive product, issue product, and view product list. So if we did go to that receive product, you should see our logo that we added there. So you'll see how easy that was to do to just make a simple change to one of our pre-canned apps. Otherwise, you can just use it as is. So we can actually add inventory here. I'll just do this quickly. I'll just enter, let's say, men's polo. And let's say we have 10 on hand. And that'll submit for us. And maybe we have a women's polo here. and maybe we have 5 of those. So now maybe we want to receive some of those in. We're getting a shipment of some more, so we need to scan our part number. So this could actually exist in multiple locations, but in this case we're going to receive it to stockroom 1. So we can see what we already have here is 10. And then maybe we want to receive another 15. So that should bump us up to 25. Let's do the other polo. Stockroom 1. We'll receive 10 of those. And we'll save. Now if we jump back over to our view data and our product list, we'll see that those quantity on hands have now increased to 25 and 15 based on the inventory that we received. So the same concept applies to the issue product. I'll just do 1 in this case. So once again, we scan our product, select our stockroom we're pulling from or issuing from, and let's say we want to issue 7. So that should leave us with 18. Now if I leave this, come back in, go to our product list, there's our 18. So that's what I wanted to go over in terms of creating an app from scratch real quickly and modifying an existing app from the Solution Center. Keep a lookout for an upcoming webinar that will dive into the desktop tool and creating apps in more detail. I just quickly want to go over one of the major new features in version 9 is our conditional logic. We also do have a feature-focused video specifically for this. So as Kristin mentioned, if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see that is one of our feature-focused videos. So this is something that's been lacking a long time in our software. So it's the ability to do an if-then type scenario. So if I had an event, let's say after I scan into a field, so if I click on this ID, it's going to show our control IDs for all the forms. So you're basically referencing, let's say if an after scan event in fields, the part number, which is control 4, and then you can do some if conditions. You know, if, let's say, if Ford contains, you know, a P, we can actually set the color of a field, set back color of control 4 to, let's say, red. And you can also do an else. You know, if it doesn't contain a P, then you can have it just turn, you know, maybe green. So those are some of there's plenty of if-then type scenarios we can handle. As you see here, different events. On focus, lost focus after scan, if a field value changed. On form open, if you click a button. On validation scenarios, calcs, lookups. We can do a lot of things on certain events. You'll see some of the actions we can do. We can click a button. We can execute a SQL statement. We can go to controls or pages. We can play sounds. We can refresh fields. We can, as I showed you can set colors, fonts, positions. You can enable or disable validation, set values, set things as visible, show message, and so on. So I imagine this being a growing feature. So as we get this out here, users may request more functionality out of this. So please feel free to send that to us. As Brad mentioned before, we're very user-driven in terms of features that we add. So if you get those to us, they'll more than likely be added in the future. The last thing I wanted to touch on quick is basically what do you do with the data once it's actually collected on the device? That's where our TracerPlus Connect tool comes in. So this is a simple way to marry your TracerPlus data to your existing ODBC database or system, Excel files, or even plain text files. So it's just a simple mapping process of selecting, you know, your source and your destination. You're marrying fields up here. You'll see this is tied to an Excel sheet. So I'm saying the date field from TracerPlus is going to sync to column A in Excel and so on. So these mappings would change based on your source or destination type. But it's very easy to map and configure. And then you can do your syncs either via Kraebel, a wireless batch type sync, or even in what we call live mode, or the real-time scenario where you're talking back and forth with the database directly. But that's all I wanted to show. So thank you all for attending today. So if, I'll give the control back to Kristin here, and she can bring up our question slides.
We really like to hear from you guys. We want to hear what content you want to see on the webinars. If it's integration into some sort of system or database, I should say, with the TracerPlus Connect webinar, send us an email and let us know what you want to hear. If it's a certain feature that you think is really important to all the users, please let us know. You know, we're always searching for content to provide to us, our users. You'll see that with the quick start videos. You know, those 5-minute videos we've been dedicating a lot of time to. Those are the features that our users typically call with and need help on, and we've been putting those up as quickly as we can get them up. With that being said, thanks Kristin, thanks Joe, and thanks to all our users, trial users, and hopefully future users for attending the webinar today. We're all accessible via email or phone. Just don't hesitate calling it in, up, and you know, if you have a question, please let us know what it is. With that being said, thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.